They removed it from every school textbook, buried it in every pharmacy aisle. And yet, for thousands of years, entire civilizations used this single plant to rebuild what we now spend billions trying to fix. More complete protein than any powder on the shelf, better absorbed than soy, and it grows in a bucket in your home right now. Something changed in the 1950s. Slowly, quietly, the food systems of the Western world began to narrow. Corn, soy, wheat. That became the new trinity of nutrition. Everything that didn't fit that model was pushed to the margins. And in those margins, they buried this plant. Most of you watching this right now will never hear about it from your doctor. Not because your doctor wants to keep you sick, but because what was never taught in medical school cannot be written on a prescription pad. Here is a number worth sitting with. The global protein supplement industry is worth over $700 billion. Powders, pills, bars, shakes, every single one of them patented, every one of them profitable, and not one of them can do what this plant does for free. This is the part they don't want you to reach, because if this single aquatic fern becomes common knowledge, if people start growing it on kitchen counters and back porches, a portion of that $700 billion industry simply disappears. And that is not a threat any industry tolerates quietly. Consider the trajectory of Western medicine over the last century. Every decade, a new category of chronic illness becomes diagnosable. Every decade, a new class of prescription treatment follows it. The pattern is not coincidence, it is business. And in the shadow of that business, the ancient foods, the traditional crops, the zero-cost remedies were quietly reclassified as dangerous, as unproven, as the domain of the uneducated. Stay with me, because what I'm going to show you in the protocol section has never been easier to do at home. It takes less than 5 minutes to set up, and it lasts forever. Keep watching. The forgotten crop that modern agriculture spent decades erasing wasn't erased because it didn't work. It was erased because it worked too well, for too many people, at too low a cost. Nature heals in layers. The layer they stripped away first was always the one that cost them the most to control. Its name is Azolla, a tiny aquatic fern, small enough to sit in the palm of your hand, classified as a weed by most modern textbooks, dismissed, forgotten. But ancient Asian rice farmers knew something modern science is only now beginning to confirm. In China, agricultural records dating back over 1,000 years document Azolla as a crop companion, not just to fix nitrogen into the soil, but to feed the body. Vietnamese farmers grew it in flooded paddies alongside rice. In parts of India, traditional healers referenced it by a regional name, but the healing application was consistent across cultures. Protein, minerals, vitality, the green gold of the paddies. That was what they called it. And they were not romanticizing it. They were describing its value accurately. Azolla fixed atmospheric nitrogen directly into the water, naturally fertilizing the rice crop beneath it, while simultaneously providing a harvestable food source above. A dual-function crop. Something modern agricultural engineering has spent decades and billions of dollars trying to replicate synthetically. And then Western agriculture arrived, and Azolla was labeled invasive, a nuisance, a waterweed. Research funding dried up, extension programs moved on. The knowledge of how to grow and use it moved from the fields into obscurity. Because in just a moment, I'm going to walk you through the exact nutritional comparison that is changing how natural health practitioners think about plant-based protein. Don't go anywhere. Here is what mainstream nutrition does not want to be common knowledge. Azolla contains between 19 and 30% protein by dry weight. Read that again. That is comparable, in several documented cases superior to spirulina, chlorella, and soy protein. And unlike soy, there are no phytoestrogenic side effects, no GMO contamination risk, No pesticide residue from industrial farming. You grow it yourself. You control everything. A study published in the journal Food Chemistry confirmed that Azolla pinnata, the most common and widely available species, contains all essential amino acids. All of them. That means complete protein. The kind your muscles require to rebuild after the age of 50. The kind your liver needs to process and detoxify. The kind your immune system runs on every single day. Now consider who is watching this right now. Those of you managing progressive muscle loss after 60. Those spending $40, $50, $60 a month on protein powders that contain ingredients you cannot pronounce. Those whose doctors have flagged low protein levels and offered nothing beyond a mass-produced shake loaded with corn syrup and artificial flavoring. This is for you. Because when I get to the protocol, the exact 5-minute setup that costs almost nothing, you will understand why this is not a future food. This is a right-now food. Stay with me. Beyond complete protein, documented research has identified Azolla as a source of vitamin B12, one of the only plant sources that contains it in meaningful quantities, critical for nerve health, cognitive function, and energy metabolism, especially after 50. Iron, at concentrations up to 3 times higher than spinach by weight. Beta-carotene, a powerful antioxidant linked to eye health, skin repair, and immune function. Omega-3 fatty acids, specifically ALA, the plant-based form associated with cardiovascular protection. Now think about how many of those nutrients are on your current supplement list. B12, iron, beta-carotene, omega-3s, complete protein. Most people are spending $50 to $100 a month trying to piece together exactly what Azolla provides in a single handful. Growing wild, self-replicating, waiting to be rediscovered. Every doctor should be recommending this. Instead, it sits quietly in buckets around the world, known only to those willing to look past what they were told to look at. Here is what you need, and nothing on this list will cost you more than $10 total. Step 1. Choose your container: a 5-gallon bucket, a plastic storage bin, a shallow garden tub. Any container that holds water will work. Azolla is a floating aquatic fern. It does not need soil. It does not need direct sunlight. Indirect, natural light from a window is enough to sustain and multiply it indefinitely. Step 2. Source your starter culture. Organic aquatic nurseries carry Azolla starter cultures for under $10 online. In certain regions, particularly the American South, Southeast Asia and parts of Europe, Azolla grows wild in irrigation ditches and slow-moving streams. If you know someone already cultivating it, a single cupped handful is all you need. Azolla doubles in volume every 2 to 3 days, under normal conditions, 2 to 3 days. That is not an exaggeration, that is documented growth biology. Step 3. Prepare your water. Fill your container with non-chlorinated water. Rainwater is ideal. If using tap water, let it sit uncovered for a minimum of 24 hours before introducing Azolla. The fern is sensitive to heavy chlorine. Add a small pinch of organic fertilizer or allow the water to enrich naturally from indirect sunlight over 2 to 3 days before planting. Step 4. Harvest and prepare. Within 2 weeks of your first planting, you will have more Azolla than a single person can consume. Harvest each morning by scooping a portion from the surface. Rinse thoroughly under cool running water. Then, your options are flexible. Dry it and grind it into a powder. Add it to smoothies, soups or teas. Blend it fresh into a green drink. Press small amounts into dehydrated cakes for long-term storage. The flavor is mild, slightly earthy. In a blended smoothie, it is virtually undetectable. And because Azolla self-replicates, it does not stop. One starter culture, maintained properly, lasts for years, potentially decades. No cost, no dependency, no supply chain. This is what food independence actually looks like. If you've stayed this long, you already know something most people never will. Nature has always had the answer. The question is whether we are willing to stop looking where we are told to look and start looking where they told us not to. Share this video with someone spending money every month on protein supplements, someone managing muscle loss after 60, someone whose doctor has run out of answers. They deserve to know this exists. Subscribe to Health Quest. This is exactly the kind of knowledge we protect here. And leave a comment right now. What is the one thing about mainstream nutrition advice that has frustrated you the most? I read every single response. This content is for educational and informational purposes only. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional before making changes to your diet or health routine.